Hey guys, Avery here, and today I'm going to be coming at you with a book talk / book review for Aurora Rising by Amie Kauffman and Kristoff. So, this book I read recently during the biannual bibliothon, which today's the last day for, but you know, this is probably the only chance in the past week that I've had to film. So, we're going to do this today, and I finished this earlier in the week, and I have my little handy dandy notebook here that I got in an owl crate, and I freaking love it, but that's besides the point. But it has all of my little notes in it that I took while reading. So let's just, jump right in. Also, the background is different yet again, but this is the setup that I'll probably be sticking with because I rearranged my room. So now I no longer have to sit on the floor with this weird angle. I like this better. Let me know what you think. Also, it's a ring light now, so I love that as well. But also, glasses are a struggle with the ring light. Like, I can't really see my eyeballs, but it's fine. And this is very distracting. But I'm going to do my best to ignore that. Hopefully you can hopefully that doesn't bother you too bad, but I'll try not to be distracted by the rings that are in my glasses / in my eyeballs because they're very reflective. But without further ado, let's stop me rambling and let's ramble about what we're here to talk about. So what I can tell you of this book without spoiling it for those of you who maybe clicked on this and haven't read it yet, I loved it. It was wonderful. I think, I almost said I think I like it better than Illuminae, but now I'm like questioning myself because I really don't know if I like it better than Illuminae because all of those books were great. This book is great. Just Amie Kauffman and Kristoff together are just great. Let's just leave it at that. But I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. As of right now, I might change it to like 4.5, but you'll see why later. But yeah, so if you don't know what this book is about, this book follows a squad of misfits as they try and save the galaxy, essentially. So it follows an alpha named Ty, and the alphas are the leaders of these squads. And something happens and he ends up missing the draft. So he gets stuck with the dregs of the academy, Aurora Academy, and he's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with these people? But as it turns out, he can do a lot with them. And so it's kind of follows this ragtag team as they try and figure out what's happening in their galaxy that they don't know about, and it's a wonderful time. I loved all the characters. There's 7 total. There is Ty, who is the leader in the alpha. Then there's Kat, who is the pilot, and then there's Scarlet, who is Tyler's twin sister, who is the diplomat or the face of the squad. Then there's the warrior, I forget what their names are, but he is Sildrathi, which is one of the alien species, and it's wonderful. And then there is Finian, who is Bitraskin, I think that's how you say it, but he is the gearhead, or this one who can fix everything, the tech person. And then there is Zila, who is the scientist / brain behind the operation. So it follows these group who are just kind of meshed together randomly, and they have to figure out what's been happening and kind of go on an adventure and do all these tasks in their world at the moment. But they were great. They all brought something different to the table, and they all had their own interactions and thought process and cultures in some cases. But I really liked learning about the Sildrathi and the Batraskins, the alien species, or 2 of them in this book. That's something we didn't really get to see a lot in Illuminae, and I really liked that aspect in this book. But yeah, so it was action-packed. There's a lot going on. There weren't any really lulls. It was not slow at all. You literally, from page 1, you just jump right in. You get right started. There's no slowing down in this book at all. It's just like, go, 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 until the end. And then you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. And then you're like, I need book 2, like right now, or yesterday. But, we gotta wait another year-ish. It's a little less than a year at this point, but it's fine. But yeah, so that's all I really have to say, just for you non-spoilery people. So if you haven't read this book and you don't want to be spoiled, bye. Bye, bye, bye. I'll see you later. Go read this book and then come back and we can talk about it some more. I'm back. It's literally been 2 seconds since, I stopped seeing you last. But hello, spoilery people. So let's jump right in. I put it here because it's easier, because I talk with my hands, so that book's just going to go like all over the place. So it's going to sit up here. I have my handy dandy notebook. Let's jump right in. So, things I liked about this book. I don't think there's anything I didn't like about this book, though, to be fair. But we'll see what I wrote down later, because I honestly forget a lot. Hence the notes. But the first thing I literally have written down on this paper is dimples. With this little awful, like, little emoji drawn onto it. I love dimples. I think they're precious. So, like, I really like the fact that he had dimples. I know that's such a weird thing for me to like, but I just did. But, yeah. So, Tyler, the main character, has dimples. You already knew that. And I like the fact that everybody comments that when he puts, like, the dimples on, like, when he breaks out his dimples and his smile, he literally gets almost anything he wants. Or they, like, disarm and charm the person that he's trying to, like, charm. So, it was great. I liked that a lot. The beginning of this book, I'm not gonna lie, I was confused for a solid 2 pages, but that's only because there was no, like, lead up to the action. It was just like, bam, we're right there at the beginning when he's trying to save Aurora from the spaceship and the fold that she's been stuck on for the past 200 years. There was no chill. We just jumped right in, which I really enjoyed, because I have a hard time focusing on a book if it doesn't jump right in immediately. I really struggle focusing long enough to get to the good stuff. So I really appreciated the fact that this had no chill and was just jumped right in. I will say though that it took me like a solid 2 pages to get adjusted to the fact that we jumped right in, because I'm not used to that. I'm used to like there being a little bit of backstory, which there was, but he switched from present to past when he was trying to save Aurora versus after he saved her. So like it took me a second to get used to that, but once I got used to that, it was all kinds of good, great. I'm getting too excited and I can't talk today. It's coffee's fault that I have no chill. Right, so like I mentioned in the non-spoilery part a little bit, I loved the alien species on this. I loved learning about the Batrascan and the Sildrathi. And the Sildrathi have these very, like, specific character traits. The Batrascan do too, but they're very different from each other. So the Sildrathi that we get to see the most of, because he's a member of this squad, his name is Cal, or it was Kalis. He has a very long name. It was Kalis, but they call him Cal, so we're just gonna go with Cal. And he very much reminds me of Rowan from Throne of Glass. If you read Throne of Glass, let me know if you got the same vibes. Like, it wasn't a bad thing. I like Rowan from Throne of Glass, despite, I know a lot of people don't, but I personally loved Rowan for the most part. But I got Rowan vibes. I think it was because he has, like, the silver hair and the pointed ears, and I was looking at, like, I like to look at fan art of the characters, so I, like, kind of have, like, a canvas to go off of to picture them in my mind, but literally, Cal reminds me of Rowan so much. Like, even some of the things that he does, like, personality-wise remind me of him. It wasn't a bad thing at all, and he was definitely his own character, but I got Rowan vibes so much. But, yeah. So, the Sildrathi have the silver hair and violet eyes and the pointy ears. So, they're also, like, I think they're fairly tall. Or maybe I'm mixing Avatar and this book together. I really don't know. But it was wonderful nonetheless. Yeah, I'll get back to Cal in a second. I have some things to say, but I need to go through Aurora first before we get to that. But Aurora, so we meet her and she's literally been in cryo sleep, but she ends up saving Ty by, like, telekinetically, like, is that a word, telekinetically? I'm gonna say it is. I could be very wrong. You'd think I'd know being an English major, but I definitely don't. But she kind of saves him because he's having all these issues with his suit because he's in the fold and there's a fold storm. And he's trying to save this girl and he's like, yo, I'm gonna die. But he manages to get her out and they're floating in space trying to get back to his ship that he took out because he was stressed about the draft. And, you know, he's like, we're not gonna make it. We're gonna die. And she's like, just kidding. I got you from my cryo sleep. Like, she's not even conscious. She has no idea what's happening. And they just get to the ship and they're all fine and dandy. So with Aurora, when she wakes up, she's been having like these visions, and she's struggling to like acclimate to the fact that she has been in cryosleep for 200 years and everyone she knew and loved no longer exists for various different reasons, which we will get into later. But she's like, whoa, what the fork? This is not right. And she's just like having all these hallucinations, and she's like, oh my God, I'm going crazy. These people gonna kill me because I'm going crazy. And it turns out that she is telekinetic, but also she is being, I guess possessed is kind of the word I would use, by the Ishvaran, which is a species that has been extinct for like hundreds and hundreds of years. But somehow they possess Aurora, and you don't really know why until the very end of this book, where you have this creepy ass plant things that are possessing people's bodies and gorillas. Like, oh my God, but we'll get to that later. That's what I'm gonna keep saying. I'm trying to go in chronological order, but I feel like it's not gonna work. Also, I would like to point out that I had written on here, I feel like it may be a space government plot. Like, I literally wrote it down. Who was right? Me! But also, it's kind of not the space government. Like, it is, but it isn't, because it's the GIA, who is like the highest tier of the galaxy protection people, or the human side of it. Or it's not human anymore because they have like the treaties with the alien species. But they're creepy. Like, they are scary. They, like, when Aurora first sees them, she doesn't know who they are because she, like I said, she's been out for 200 years. But they have no faces, meaning the masks are like, they don't have features. You don't know who's under the mask. And come to find out, it's because they have weird plant things growing out of their eyes. Can we talk about that for a second? Like, how did they come up with the plant thing? Like, I want to know. And the plant thing is like this consciousness that's like trying to take over the galaxy through plants. Like, I want to know more about this plant species. But they tried to destroy the galaxy before, and the Ishvaran kind of destroyed them. But the Ishvaran no longer exist. So this little plant thing is like, oh, this is a great time for me to come back in. Hence Aurora waking up and being possessed by one of the Ishvaran, so she can try and stop them from taking over the galaxy again. Like, can we just... That is crazy. I want to know what inspired the story, like, really bad. I just do. I want to know more. But it was wonderful, and it was just... Oh, God. I loved it. It was very creepy, but I loved it. Also, the gorilla part, where he, like, comes out of, like, nowhere, out of those woods, and, like, attacks Finian on that, was it a beach? On Octavia 3, that they're not supposed to be on, because it's been indicted? Is that the word? I don't know how to pronounce it, nor do I remember how it's spelled, but you know what I mean? It's been off limits. Like, imaginary, like, caution tape has been wrapped around that planet for years, and, you know, they just pop up onto it, like, hey, we're gonna go, because, you know, they're probably hiding something, which they are, but also, literally, they almost die. It was like that for a reason, but also now they're, like, a couple steps closer to, like, defeating these weird plant things. Also, the gorillas. Back to the gorillas. I'm sorry, I really, like, I'm going all over the place, because as I remember things, I need to tell you them, or else I will forget. But the gorilla, like, the gorilla part was so creepy. I do not like monkeys, mainly gorillas. Like, if I see a monkey, it's fine. However, when it's attacking people, no thank you. Like, I remember, I was like 8-ish, and I remember on the news, there was this story about this lady who got her face ripped off by a monkey, and since then, I don't like them. But that scene with the monkey that jumps out and, like, attacks Finian, and everybody's trying to get, like, kill it, and the plant thing wraps around Cal's legs, and it's like, oh, whoa. Whoo, 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 whoo. There's a lot happening. And they managed to kill the monkey, managed to, like, get out of this pickle, the first one of many. And they're like, huh, that has the weird same plant thing as the lady they saw when they were trying to get the trigger from that dude's office. Okay, so I found it. His name is Castledon Bianchi. And he is like this, he's an alien species as well. And he lives on this world ship, which in my mind is very much like Star Wars, where we see Han Solo in that place with all the different people. You know what I'm talking about? You know, the scene I'm talking about. I've only seen Star Wars a couple times, so I don't really know what technically it's called. And, you know, it was really crazy. But Castle Don Bianchi has all these, like, exotic animals and artifacts, like the dinosaur thing, who is the last of his species because he ate all of his other people, like siblings, all of his other kind, and he's the last one. The Ultrasaur. Yes, the Ultrasaur from Abraxas 4. Oh my holy Lanta. Is it like a Godzilla thing? Like, I'm having all the pop culture, like, feels in this book, and it's giving me life. I love it. It's not a bad thing at all. But, you know, they're trying to get this trigger because the people that keep possessing, not people, the Eshfarin that keep possessing Aurora want them to get this trigger from Castle Don Bianchi's place. They're like, you need the trigger. And she's like, where is it? And of course he has it on the world ship. And so now they have to try and break in. And the only way in now is to go through the Ultrasaur's habitat, I guess. And it gets real crazy real quick. But they manage to escape. The Ultrasaur is now dead. And it makes Mr. Bianchi so mad. Like, he is beyond mad. He's like, you killed my baby. Because that was, like, his prized possession. And, you know, it's gone. He's gone. He's dead. Aurora killed him with her mind. Like, whatever. I like the fact that he speaks his own language. I like the fact that we get to see that quite a bit in this book. Also, one of the reasons why he reminds me of Rowan is because of the pull. Like, the little mate pull thing that he feels for Aurora. And he's like, hold up. I cannot be feeling this. She's not going to want anything to do with me. And he tells her that. Like, it takes him forever. And he almost loses his mind when she is in danger because he hasn't said anything about it. Nobody knows except Tyler. And he's just, like, about to lose his cool because his mate, is that what their mates, is in danger. And he's like, hold up. And then he finally tells her and she's like, excuse me, what? You feel the pull for me. I'm your human and you're a Sildrathi who can live for like hundreds of years. But she comes back and they have like this moment on Octavia 3 and she's like, what made you think that I wouldn't want to feel the same way? Like, you immediately just got off all communication and was like, I'll leave you alone after this. And he didn't even ask her how she felt about it. He just told her and expected that since she didn't say anything right then, she could not feel any type of way about him. And she's just like, no, I was shocked because, like, whoa. I like the fact that, like, she's so shocked because he completely ignores her 99% of the time. And she calls him a jackass, like, multiple times. And she's like, stop being a jackass. And he's like, what's a jackass? And I'm like, it was great. I loved it. I like the fact that Aurora cusses, but she cusses in, like, food terms. Like, she says, holy cake and mother custard. Like, that is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. Also, something that happened in the beginning of the book with the battle leader Destroy and the leader of Aurora Academy. I think his name is Adams. I want to say his name is Adams, but, you know, the two leaders that project themselves to them on the ship, and they're like, the cargo you carry is so important. And they're like, what? We're just going to, like, give supplies to the Sildrathi who need help. And they're like, okay, all right. And then they get there and Aurora, like, pops out of the crate and she's like, hey, battle leader Destroy told me to stow away on your ship. And they're like, what? And so things get crazy. And then the GIA come and try to kill everybody and they are following them through all the places that they're trying to go. And it's a wild ride, man. But yeah, that was crazy. I want to know more about what they know. Like, do they know that they're plant people? Do they know that this plant thing has, like, a consciousness and is trying to take over by, like, weaving itself through people and, like, taking over their consciousness? Because we see that when Kat dies, which, by the way, I was like, what? Kat's dying? Oh, no. But also, Kat wasn't my #1 favorite character. I'm not going to lie. Like, I liked her. I didn't hate her by any means, but she was not my favorite. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, and I also feel like they never resolved their feelings for each other in a satisfying way, her and Ty. Like, I know that they can't be together because he's her alpha, but it's mentioned that night across the bar with the empty glasses, and you learn later that they slept together, and then, you know, the next morning he said, this was a mistake, we can't do this, and I'm like, oh no, this is not gonna end well. And then Kat sells them out to the GIA, and I was like, oh hell no. But turns out she didn't. She told Tyler everything, and they came up with this plan that would make it look like she held up her end of the bargain, but they knew everything and they counted on it. But they start arguing before we realize that she, you know, told them everything. They start arguing about that night, and they're like, she's like, you said it was a mistake. You know, we haven't talked anything. They're arguing about the fact that he said it was a mistake, and she still clearly has feelings for him. And they argue about it, but the fact is, Kat still feels like not great about that situation, but it's never touched on again. Like, they have the fake fight, but I feel like there was some truth to what was happening, but it's never addressed. Like, the ending of it, it said that, I know he loves me, blah, 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 but like, she's already dead, man. And I know Tyler likes her. Like, he's her number one. They're best friends. They've been best friends since kindergarten, when she, like, busted a chair over his head. But we don't get a lot of resolution for their relationship before she dies. And then she dies, and she's like, I know he loves me. And I'm like, oh, that's sweet. But also, like, I wanted more from that situation. But Kat wasn't my favorite character, but I definitely liked her. And I was really upset that she died. And then we see, like, from her point of view and Aurora being inside her mind, that this plant thing, once you get touched by that pollen that's falling through the sky because she gets injured and she has an open wound, and that blue pollen stuff, snow, whatever, the blue pollen gets into that wound, and all of a sudden she's becoming part of this big plant thing where all of them are connected to one consciousness, and that consciousness is the main one. Like, you lose yourself. Kat fights it to let them get out, but, you know, in the end, the plant thing takes over. And so, like, this plant thing wants all of his little plant counterparts to go into people so he can control everybody on every planet ever and destroy planets in the galaxy. And I'm like, a plant, though? A plant. I want to know more about this plant. Like, I really do. Also, we learn that the leader of this plant thing is Aurora's dad, because he takes off his mask and it's her dad. He's the leader of the GIA and the leader of the plant people, I guess. It was crazy. I knew her dad was going to pop up eventually, and I kind of figured once they got to Octavia 3 and they started looking and seeing, like, this plant stuff, I was like, oh, okay, her dad has suffered the same fate as Aurora's would-be stepmother before everything happened on Octavia 3. But yeah, like, it was crazy. I want to know more about these plant things, but overall, I really liked the book. Also, can we just see more of the space pirates? Like, I know we saw the world ship, but, like, space pirates. How cool would that be? Like, I want to see the space pirates. I don't care if they're antagonists. I want to see a space pirate. I feel like that would be cool. Just me? Alright, cool. I just like the space pirates. I think that would be cool. The bar scene. I really liked the bar scene while they're on the world ship. I liked that Cal and Aurora having, like, a nice little conversation, and she's telling him he's being a jackass, like I mentioned before, and he's like, what is that? And then come in 3 of the Sildrathi, who are also war breed, like Cal. The Sildrathi had that little emblem, like, on their forehead that tells them, like, what clan they belong to. Cal is part of the war breed, who is responsible for the Sildrathi Civil War, the war between them and the Terrans, and he is automatically seen as a traitor because he's with the Terrans. He joined Aurora Academy, and they want trouble, but he's, like, a great fighter because he is a war breed. And yeah, also he refers to himself, like, the bad or violent parts of him as the enemy within. I want to explore that more. I feel like that's going to become very important in later books. I feel like this set up for an issue with the Sildrathi later, because there's no way that we can't explore that again, because of the Star Slayer, how he killed their home planet and is now hunting down all the Sodrathi who are not loyal to him, despite the fact that they are supposed to have a peace treaty with the Terrans after the war. There is something going on there as well. I feel like he's going to be part of this whole planet thing, but who knows at this point. I wonder, oh my gosh, I wonder, this is a long shot, I'm not gonna lie, I wonder if the Star Slayer has like the plant disease, because like he destroyed that whole planet and that's what the plant people want to do. So like maybe that's a possibility. I don't know. I feel like it could be, but let me know what you think about that, because I feel like there's something going on there in that realm. But yeah. I love the bar scene. They're all fighting. Like the Sodrathi are fighting Cal, and he's like, Aurora, stay behind me. And he and Tyler like fighting the Sodrathi who are starting this issue in this bar. And all of a sudden, Aurora's face pops up on the little projection thing as a fugitive. And she's like, oh no. And I'm like, of course it will pop up right then when all eyes are on them because of the issues going on between the Sodrathi. Like, oh my gosh, of course. So now they're like hightailing it out of there and trying to survive. Also, later on, when Ty and Cal have to kiss, the Sodrathi do not like to be touched. They see that as like an intimate thing between certain people, but they don't do like the casual touch. They don't do hugs, no touching if I don't give you permission. And Ty's like, they're in the security place trying to get in so Finian can kind of see all the cameras, and someone's coming and they're like, oh no, what do? We can't just walk out now. They're gonna know what we were doing or know that we are not supposed to be here, despite the fact that they're disguised and they were let in, but they're definitely not there to do what they're supposed to. And so he's like, don't punch me for this, and they just kiss. And Cal's like, what just happened? He's like, don't punch me for this. He didn't though. He didn't punch him. He really didn't say much. He's like, it worked. He's not happy about it by any means, but it worked. It got them out of that situation. And I was like, oh my gosh. I definitely thought Cal was going to be like, but he didn't. So, I mean, it's fine. I just thought that was a really great point. The Eshvarin very much remind me of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull at the end, where, they put the crystal skull back on like the alien body, and like all of the knowledge is going into this lady, and she's like, it's too much, and she ends up dying. But that's besides the point. That is Indiana Jones, not Aurora Rising. So the Eshvarin, this race of people who nobody knows if they actually existed or not, which apparently now they did. We know that now. But everybody's like, yeah, it's a myth. They don't really exist. And then come to find out, that's the race that is possessing Aurora and giving her these instructions to try and stop the plant people from taking over the galaxy. But it very much reminded me, the Eshvarin remind me of the little crystal skull alien people with the knowledge and, all of that. That's just what the vibes came at me. They're just... Scarlet. I love Scarlet. I want her and Finian to be like a thing. He is precious. He has that little robo-suit, or not robo-suit, the little exoskeleton suit thing that helps him move around because he has a sickness that he can't move around easily by himself. And at first, I think that's great. I think it's very good representation because not everybody is going to be like able-bodied in this world. And I like the fact that he uses that tech, and he's a tech genius, and he's a very interesting character to me. Like, he has all the sarcasm, which I appreciate, but he also has some really great, like, backstories and interesting things I would like to learn more about. And we learn a lot about the Batrascan customs as well. The Batrascans have, like, white skin, white hair, and black eyes, like, solid black eyes. And they live underground because if they live above ground, then they inhale like these shards in the air, and if they get stuck in your lungs, they'll kill you. So they have to live underground. And the way that the family system works in the Batrascan culture is very interesting because their family has to help them seal and build their houses, because if it's not sealed right, then all those little shards are going to come in and you're going to die. So it's like a show of trust that you have your family build your house with you, and they have these things like favors. So when he meets his cousin on the world trip, whose name is Daryl, he's like, you know, I'm your third mother's cousin, or, you know, it's a very long story of how they're related, because Betrascan families are so huge. And eventually, because it's taking forever, and he's like, has no interest in helping him, he's like, I'll owe you a favor. And favors I want to learn more about. Like, I want to know what Daryl's going to end up wanting from them, because it's going to have to come up eventually, because he said it multiple times to try and get them help in the world ship and a place to stay while they try and get the trigger from Castle Don Bianchi. So I find Finian very interesting. I love Scarlet. I love how she's a total badass, but also very like empathetic to people. Like, she can figure them out very easily, but that's also, you know, typical of a face, but she's very good at it. And she didn't want to be part of the Aurora Academy Legion. She just wanted to follow her brother. And I just love them. I love the fact that they have like the twin language. Like, they can look at each other and know exactly what they're thinking. I think that's very interesting to me. But I love Scarlet as well. I kind of want her and Finian to become a thing. I think they would be very cute together. And I want to see more of Aurora and Cal. And I want to see how Ty handles the loss of his ace and his best friend / the person that he's in love with, Kat. I want to see that in the next book. It's going to be very interesting to see where they go from here, because they opened this whole big can of worms and now they have to deal with the consequences. So yeah, I feel like it's going to be a very wild ride. I'm so excited for the next book, but I'm going to have to wait a while. It's going to be like the Illuminate Files, and it's just going to like get crazy really fast. But I really liked it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I think I'll leave it at 5 out of 5 stars. It was great. I really enjoyed it. If you haven't read it yet, I highly suggest you do. This book was amazing. And yeah, I think that's all I have for you guys. First book talk has been a success, I think. I think it's been pretty great. But yeah, if you read this book, let me know your thoughts and opinions on it. I would love to hear them, but in the comments, or you can tweet me, whatever. But just be careful, because others that haven't read this don't need to be spoiled. So be mindful of the spoilery things. Either put like a warning and then like put space between the warning and your text, and we can just have a nice little chat. But yeah, so I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!